gone, sorry. All right, it's 10:01, so we're gonna go ahead and launch. Welcome everyone to the NASA Manufacturing Connect virtual field trip. This is our, we've done a few virtual field trips. Dee Dee Jones, who is our industrial coordinator for Manufacturing Connect, you can wave, Dee Dee. She usually handles all of these amazing events. So we were right in the midst of handling this event when we had to kind of do some shifting because we also were doing our spring break internships. So we were very fortunate to be able to connect with Dr. Alston, Dr. Stewart, and Dr. Chouduri, and they're from NASA. And so we're gonna give you guys an amazing advanced / STEAM event that should wow your socks off. That's the idea. So if you're not wearing socks, well, you know, you get the idea. So we're just gonna say a little bit. I'm gonna introduce myself, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let the speakers just give their name and where they're from and their role. They don't have to go deep into it because we'll have time for that. And then I'm gonna introduce the Manufacturing Connect crew that's on, and then we're gonna hop right into the rest of it. So I am Leslie Long. I am the Assistant Program Director for Manufacturing Connect. So I help to just assist my Program Director, Joyce Weston, in just keeping the wheels on the bus, between the proverbial plane. And just assisting all of our team with just executing advanced manufacturing training throughout the Chicagoland area. And then I'm going to introduce Leslie because she and I will be kind of toggling. So this is the other Leslie. So Leslie Montoya, she's program assistant, and she is the sheriff of the day. Yes, she will be wearing a badge and handling all muting. So now we're gonna go right into, I'm gonna introduce Erika. I thought I just saw her and then now I don't see her. Oh, okay, I see her. I think she's still there, but maybe she stepped away. So I may just shift to Dr. Calvin Stewart from UTEP with NASA. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself, and then you can pass it on to Dr. Chouduri, and then Dr. Chouduri, you can pass it on to Erika.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Calvin Stewart. I am an associate professor of mechanical engineering at the University of Texas at El Paso. I also direct the Materials at Extremes Research Group, and I'm also the energy engineering lead in the Center for Space Exploration Technology Research, which is directed by Dr. Chouduri. Nice to meet you all.
Hey, welcome. And this is Ashan Chouduri. I founded this a NASA-funded research center, what Kelvin just mentioned. Used to be called Center for Space Exploration and Technology Research. Now we shortened our name to simply call ourselves Aerospace Center. I welcome aboard. I'm so excited to see all of you here. Okay, so it'll be great few hours for us. Hey, thank you so much. And then I'm passing to Erika.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Erika Alston. I'm a manager of the Space Grant Program for NASA. I manage this program on behalf of the agency. I speak to you all today from NASA Link. I'm glad to have you all on today. Leslie, I believe you're up.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, so now I just want to just kind of roll a little bit through the Manufacturing Connect crew that's on today, and then we're going to go right into the videos. The first video and information that we're going to see will be with Dr. Alston. But first, I just want to pass it directly on to Dee Dee, and then you can pass it on to Joyce, etc. Just introducing. You're muted, Dee Dee, sorry. Leslie, can you unmute? There you go.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry about that. Happy Thursday, everybody. I am the industry coordinator with Manufacturing Renaissance, responsible for getting all the work experiences, all the internship, as well as full-time placement. I am AKA the plug, the kids call me. Joyce.
I'm Joyce Weston. I am the program director at Manufacturing Renaissance for both our Manufacturing Connect program that serves the high school age kids and our Young Manufacturers Association that works with young adults 18 to 29 years old.
Who else is here?
Lesson.
Okay, just double checking. I thought I had seen, I know Leslie's here. I thought I had seen someone else. But there's a lot of people here. All right. Okay, I don't see other staff members. Nevertheless, with an exception of Leslie. Leslie, you can go ahead and reintroduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Leslie Montoya. I'm the bookkeeper / program assistant for Manufacturing Renaissance. Like Leslie Long said, I'll just be sort of monitoring, seeing everything's okay. I will be sort of looking through the chat, also seeing what kind of questions any of you have.
So we do want to make sure that everybody remains muted. Once we get into just the basics of, you'll be seeing several videos just because there are security that we cannot breach because it is NASA, but they will have exciting videos and exciting information that they each will be sharing. And then we're gonna go into a Q&A. Everyone should have received their clipboard questions. And then of course, you'll be able to ask your own individualized questions. So looking forward to hearing first and foremost from all the students. You'll be able to put your questions into the chat. When you put your questions in the chat, it should have your name, your grade, and then the school, and obviously the question. So please make sure that you kind of follow that guideline because we're really trying to track everyone. We're gonna do a little bit of the questions and then we're gonna take a break for a picture. That's right. So I hope you guys are wearing your shirts that represent your school or your organization. And we're just gonna have that all in the film and we're gonna take that picture. Everybody can wave at the camera, if you will. And then we'll get right back into the hardcore questions. And then we'll do a wrap up where we'll talk about some surprises that are made available to everybody who's in attendance today. So I think that I've covered all of the basics and we're gonna kick it off with Miss Alston. Leslie has her video queued. So I don't know, Erika, if you want to introduce it before we go into it, or do you just want us to pop right in?
Sure. So I wanted to provide you all a little bit of insight as to what the next big thing that NASA is currently focusing on is, and it's our Artemis mission. And that's what this video is going to talk to you a little bit about today. Thanks.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that everyone can see the video.
"50 years ago, we went to the moon. We called it Apollo.
What many people don't know is that Apollo had a twin.
She was a woman named Artemis,
goddess of the moon.
We are returning to the moon
as a new generation of explorers.
This time to stay.
And to prepare to achieve humanity's next giant leap of sending the first human missions to Mars.
We believe our course will redefine what is possible.
That we would discover life-saving,
earth-changing science.
And that the challenges ahead will inspire generations.
This is our manifest.
For all who wondered if we could return.
For all who dreamed of pressing beyond.
This is your calling.
We go for all of America.
We go. We go as the Artemis generation.
We go.
All right.
Okay, I see we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Are we popping into the next video or? Looks like we're gonna have a little bit of technical difficulties.
Okay. I believe it was only the first video that we're watching right now.
Yes.
All right. So Erika, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about the work that you do and the interesting Artemis. I think Erika's, there we go.
Okay, there. Langley about over 15 years ago, and I came in fresh out of my undergraduate, well, really my master's program. I studied mathematics, so I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in applied mathematics, and I was hired at NASA Langley right after I finished graduate school. My undergraduate, my alma mater is Clark Atlanta University, which is a historically Black college university located in Atlanta, Georgia. We're sandwiched between Morehouse College, which is an all men's college, and Spelman College, which is an all-women's college. And as I said, I was an applied math major. So I came to NASA Langley, and my first job was really around computer engineering. I went back to graduate school, got my Ph.D. in Earth and Atmospheric Sciences. So I focus on climate studies. So I try to understand how climate change has been impacted through both natural and human-induced processes. I also want to understand how aerosols, which are small particulates in the air, impact our climate. Can aerosols potentially cool our climate? Can aerosols warm our climate? And how these natural and man-made processes can alter that balance. So I really did research in that area for another 10 years or so. And I recently left doing that research with the Science Mission Directorate at NASA, and I came over to the Office of STEM Engagement, where I manage a program, a workforce development program that happens to be located in every state, including one in Illinois. And the focus of this program really is to bolster the number of aerospace trained students that make it out of the pipeline. And that pipeline has a few different exits, but one of those are the trades. Set in place at every state, funding for scholarships and fellowships and internships for those students who are pursuing STEM-oriented research, and also providing mentorship programs to help, again, guide those students end to end through that process. I'm more than happy to share with the group Manufacturing Renaissance and get them in contact with the Illinois Space Grant Consortium to get them plugged in more directly with that group. But you know, my research days as a scientist at NASA, every day is a little different. Some of the research can be done from your office or anywhere. Sometimes you really do have to have groups of people to really problem solve and do real-time critical thinking exercises to really understand where your problems are and what your possible solution sets are. You know, NASA has lots of different areas for you to focus on, and you get to pull different pieces, or what I call tools out of your toolbox, to meet the problem at hand.
That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that intro and that amazing information. All right, we're gonna shift to the UTEP team, Dr. Stewart and Dr. Chouduri. I'm not too sure who's gonna show what first, so I'll just hand it off to both of you and go from there.
So we should share our presentation video. This is that segment of the program, or?
Yes.
Okay. So the way I would like to do, I will show you certain things first, and then I'll hand over to Kelvin, and we have also Pilar Gonzalez, one of our senior doctoral students, also on the call, and we'll wrap up. I have a hard stop at 10 your time, 11:30. And then I think Kelvin will have to attend another meeting. So I will first just talk a little bit about myself, and then I will show you a brief presentation with some videos. Okay, so that's the goal. And you have to give me a little bit of a time so that I can transition between videos and presentation. I don't want to get to a situation the technology actually stopped me doing things. So, hey, I'm Ashan Chouduri. I have a different story than most of you, but there's a lot of parallel between. I did not grow up in this bar or grew up in this country. I grew up in a country 8,000 miles in the other direction of El Paso, okay? A tiny little country called Bangladesh with a lot of people in it. And was on his 6th grade. In my mom's library, I found a book about Bell X1. How many of you actually know what Bell X1 is? Okay, so that's surprising. Okay, so Bell X-1 is the first supersonic aircraft built by United States post-World War II and flown by the famous aviator Chuck Yeager. That was the America's might. That was post-World War II, our enter to a superpower. That's the supersonic, first supersonic. If you go to Smithsonian Museum, you should be able to see it. Okay, it's hanging on there, it's the orange aircraft. And the aircraft mesmerized me, you know, and I'm in the 6th grade reading about a supersonic aircraft, not knowing anything about it. But the pilot really did not, Chuck Yeager is a famous aviator. He was not my inspiring person. There is an engineer in it, his name is Jack Ridley. He was solving all the technical problem to chasing the sound demon, you know, we used to call them, to break the sound barrier. Well, that day I thought, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. Well, I'm growing up a country where there is only 6 aircraft. So it's very difficult to growing up a country and with 6 aircraft, thinking about becoming an aerospace engineer. Well, there was a lot of ups and downs. And I ended up coming to University of Oklahoma in 1996. It's 16 years from there. And people often ask me why I came to University of Oklahoma to pursue my aerospace degree. Well, because Jack Ridley was from University of Oklahoma, and I wanted to come to the same university. Well, I found out nobody knows about him in that university. A first generation of immigrant, it was very difficult to pursue an aerospace engineering degree. And it's difficult, but there's so many people who helped me. Along the way, I got an NASA internship as a not fully citizen that time. Someone from NASA has to fill up like a 400 pages form just to get me in the NASA. So the same day I walked in NASA Glenn Research Center, and I touched that ground and I figured out that my journey somehow came full circle. I'm here in NASA Glenn. And so then after graduating with a PhD in aerospace engineering, very hot commodity because I worked on supersonic combustion, everybody wanted me. And I came a short tour to UTEP. I said, I don't want to come to this university, it's smaller. Then I came this university and fell in love with it. And everybody asked me that why I came to UTEP. I always tell them that it always feel like home. So this university, without having a lot of aerospace, last 20 years struggle was building an aerospace program. I almost quit in the first year. And there is one girl that time, Claudia Herrera, one of my most favorite student. She told me, Doc, you cannot leave us. Then our dream gonna be curtailed. You have to be here no matter how difficult it is. And I stayed. And Claudia is now Deputy Chief Engineer, another X program out of NASA Armstrong. So we went together to the Bell X-1. There's a copy there, NASA Armstrong. We stand close to that aircraft. And I feel like that my dream started with the Bell X-1 and my own student now, Deputy Chief Engineer of another X plane. So that's 20 years. That's exactly what we did. Try to take kids from El Paso zip code and give them an aerospace engineering experience and set them workforce, like all of you. Our country needs you. And my first presentation is a little bit of talking about the future. You guys are our future. So give me a second just so I can talk a little bit about the future before I switch to some cool videos, okay? I just want to double check you can see my screen. Okay, so we're old. I'm 50 years old. My generation passed, okay? It's you guys we're gonna take. So our future is very different. Our future is very, very exciting. Our future is all of you keeping United States. Remember the Bell X-1, the post-World War II, our entrance to supersonic aircraft, supersonic flight regime. You guys gonna take us to hypersonic flight regime. You're gonna take only 30 minutes from going from LA to New York. That's your generation. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about, without you be part of us, there's no way we have a lot of competition these days. Post-World War II, it's easier life because we spanked Germany and other people. There was no much competition. These days it's not the same. The emergence of China, the emergence of new Russia, it's put us a lot of pressure on us to make sure all of you are listening to this call, join aerospace engineering, join aerospace and defense workforce any way is possible. So what's our future actually? So, sorry. I think these are the 6 things. And you just heard about Artemis a few minutes ago, AI and robotics. Our life is already with a lot of AI, from Alexa to your Siri to all the phone is all artificial intelligence. You're gonna have robots. You're gonna have, like my Alexa is already speaking because I just say, Alexa, see, it's already, Alexa, hang up. My Alexa is already talking. I just mentioned. So that's our future. Our future is AI and robotics. The problem is, even if you go to fast food restaurant a few years from now, a robot will deliver your food. If you call a customer service, an artificial intelligence is going to talk to you. But we need you to program them. We need you to make all the robotics. So unless you choose science and engineering, unless you choose to pursue this, it's going to be difficult for us as a country. There'll be no job in fast food anymore that just do the service, but there'll be a lot of job in fast food industry, fixing robots, program the robots, all those things. And that we're going to talk a lot about additive manufacturing today. Manufacturing has been changing, tremendously changing. We are in a new era of manufacturing. Very cool stuff. You can build in 3D print, you can have a 3D printer in your office and build a lot of different things. And urban air mobility. So we drive cars a lot, but a few years from now, 10 years from now, we're actually going to fly. There will be a lot of taxis. Your products will be delivered not through Amazon or UPS's track, but just a drone dropping it. But who's going to fix those drones? Who's going to make those drones? Who's going to maintain those drones? That will be you. So if you don't choose science and engineering, we are in a big, big, big trouble. Okay, so that's what you need to be doing. Talk about Artemis. There is a space called cislunar space. There'll be 30,000, 10,000 people living near the moon, mining asteroids, bringing platinum, building all the precious materials to the earth to make our life better. Who's going to be doing that? That's going to be you. It's not going to be me. Okay, I'm already old. It's going to be all of you. Some of you will be living in the lunar space to do that. And I talked about hypersonics, right? And we're going to fly very, very fast, very fast. And who's going to be designing those aircraft? Who's going to be building, manufacturing those aircraft? It's going to be you. Okay, so make sure you stay school and don't stop after high school. Okay, there's a lot of way to go. I'm going to skip a little bit of all those things, all details on that, but I'm going to take you Build Back Better. We are in a very crunch time as a state. Most of our manufacturing somehow outsourced to China and other places. And COVID showed us that's not a smart thing to do. If they choose not to give us face masks, then we are in trouble. So our new administration, President Biden, wants to build back United States manufacturing, but build back better. Building back on robotics and artificial intelligence, additive manufacturing, living on cislunar space. This is all part of this big. But we cannot do anything without you, just to show you the problem. Well, we have a 27,000 job in aerospace industry open today that we cannot fill because we just don't have people there. Only 1.5% of our people in 25 to 34 years age have a science degree. Well, that's not going to happen. Lockheed still have 4,000 engineering position open right now. If you have an engineering degree, they will take you. We cannot do any, so we have to change that. We have to make sure that your future is living on the close to the lunar surface, right? Your future is building aircraft that fly 15 times faster than the current aircraft or supersonic aircraft. That will be you. You must pursue science and engineering. You must come to the STEM because it is our country needs that. We need that. Our prosperity, our economic freedom, all depends on you pursuing science and engineering. So I beg you, I beg you, you need to do that. And there's a reason for that. If you drop out from high school, your income will be 25, 30K max. With a simple 4 years engineering degree, master's PhD, you're going to make anywhere between $75,000 to $140,000 starting. Well, the future is big. Even if you choose, I'm not going to go to engineering, but I'm going to technical school. Still, you're going to make $75,000. You must pursue this because it's not about our country, it's about you too. So So we have these two large research centers. I direct one of them, is Aerospace Center. Last 10 years, they put 400 people like you, take them and give them aerospace engineering training and put them in aerospace and defense workforce. And then we have, just to show that, this is just to show you that I did that. This is a letter from Lockheed showing that last year alone, they hired 101 of my kids, 101. Although salary users saw that, 75 to 140, 101 year. If all of you come, I'll give all of you an engineering degree and put you in the workforce. Okay, so please join science and engineering. We have another center, large 3D printing, and I'll show you some video today. And so those things are all there for you. You just have to make the choice. You have to just make the choice to come and pursue this. All of them are there. So I'll show you, I'll switch to some videos. You give me 30 seconds to do that. And I'm gonna stop share for a few minutes so that I can open the video, okay? So my students, so you saw Artemis program. Back in 2010, 11, 13, NASA Johnson Space Center, which is a big partner for me, I was developing this lunar lander technology. And many of my kids actually participate on the program, many of them. Well, I'm gonna show you a video, that flight test of that, okay? So that you can, I can see all day, okay? That same video, okay? I'm gonna share it and then, and see whether you can see it, okay? Can you see my black screen of the Morpheus? Okay, if that, I'm gonna play the video.
Operator arm and ignition sequence. Set auto ignition start. Ignition in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Main base, on.
Dr. Chouduri, we can't hear the video.
Dr. Chouduri, your
I
sound.
don't think we can hear you.
Okay, so that is, I just muted my mic to avoid the feedback. So that was an experimental lander built by NASA Johnson Space Center to show a lot of technology, right? One of them is liquid oxygen, liquid methane engine, the same fuel used to cook. That's it. So that is one of our strength of our program. We do a lot of that rocket engine development. That another one is that UC is automatically landing in a hazardous environment. So that lander was, these are all pre-Artemis level where we matured a lot of technology to do that. And many of my students from our program participate on the development of the lander through NASA internship program, through support from NASA Mirror. And many of them now in Blue Origin or SpaceX developing their lander, and some of them are also in NASA doing that. And it could, for the next lander, it could be you, okay? my final presentation is about additive manufacturing, and then if we have time later on, I'll show the full-blown presentation of this. So we'll show that how additive manufacturing enable things. This is done in our university, and I will, let's see whether I can find that video. It is, I got it. And so with that, after that video, I'll hand it over to Kelvin to take over from there. Okay, let me show you that video. This is just printing an enter motor in a 3D printer. Let's look at it, okay?
The advent of 3D printing enables engineers to design and build devices in a new fashion. We can use 3D printing to take advantage of geometric complexity and potentially build better electronic.
Doctor, I think the volume went down. I don't think we can hear the video.
Yeah, when you mute yourself, it mutes the video. So we lost you we lost the sound when you muted yourself.
This video demonstrates the 3D printing of a motor in a single build sequence so that the device can be removed from the build platform, plugged in, and used immediately. Future work will focus on using the design freedom 3D printing provides to produce novel devices that may possess never before seen performance and capabilities.
So that was a quick presentation. I will make those videos available for MC for you to share with that, and also my presentation. With that, I'm gonna, I don't know how the Q&A session is, but I'll let you, but I'm passing it to Kelvin.
Right, so let me go ahead and share my slides, and then we can, and then I'll, talk in detail about my background, how I came to be where I am, but also I'll talk a little bit about some of the research that we have going on and opportunities and jobs in additive manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, and other, key areas. So my talk here, I kind of titled it, Access Creates Opportunity for Excellence. And I titled it this because my mom, growing up, this is kind of the core tenet that she believed. And it's really through her that helped me to get to where I am today. So, we'll start with materials at extremes, which is kind of my area. We'll talk about that and talk about, see some cool videos on the things we're doing in this area. And then we'll go into my background. We'll talk about some advanced manufacturing projects we're working on today at UTEP, and how students are involved in every aspect of it. And then we'll, kind of close it out from there. So let's start here with the materials at extremes. This is what my research group does. We focus on materials in extreme environments. Nowadays, all the standard materials, steels, alloys have existed for 100 years. And yet the challenges that we face in terms of performance of materials, getting things to Mars, getting things to the moon, requires us to create and manufacture new materials. So technology such as additive manufacturing, 3D printing materials, or even things like this laser that we have. We have this femtosecond laser where we're able to cut precision features into materials. That is the next wave. And we need technicians who are able to operate these systems. We need people to set up the printers, to calibrate them, to print the next rocket motor for a mission to Mars, right? But at the same time, we need to understand the performance of these new materials that are coming out of this new technology. And so there's a significant opportunity for jobs becoming test engineers, where you manufacture components and then you test them to verify that they are going to perform the way they need to. But on top of that, there's also needs for jobs in terms of theory development and modeling. If we're going to design something, we have to create a 3D model so that we can print it. And so there are tons and tons of jobs as CAD operators, computer-aided drafters, who use the computer and use their imagination to design the next engine or the next component, right? So those are jobs that are open in all sectors of society, and there's a need to fill those roles, and if we're going to advance, we're going to get to the next level. Now, I want to try to connect to you all, so I wanted to share a little bit about my background. I went through the old pictures and wanted to try to tell you a little bit about my story. So I come from a large family. I've got an older brother, a younger brother, a little sister. So I'm a family of 6 with my dad and my mom, and I'm a military brat. So my dad, he joined the Army when he was a young man. He wanted to, get an opportunity, get out of Miami Gardens in Miami, Florida, out of the hood. And so he joined the military, and that helped him and helped us as a family to travel from duty station to duty station, all over the country and even into Europe. But when I went to high school, it was tough because my dad, he was stationed overseas in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait. So for all of my high school, I just had my mom, right? And my mom wanted to keep me out of trouble. And so, she kept me involved in programs. In programs like the programs you're involved in today. She would go to the school and knock on the doors and ask me, what's going on over here? Is there something that I could get my son in? And it's because she believes that access creates opportunity for excellence. That if you go and seek access, maybe you don't have a teacher who believes in you. Maybe you have people who are naysayers who say negative things about you. But if you go and you find that opportunity, if you find access to an opportunity, then that can give you knowledge, give you skills where you can become excellent. And that's what she told me about, and that's what she did. And so in K through 12, she had me enrolled in all kinds of stuff, from the Black Male College Explorers program, which is a program that allows young Black males to go and live on a college campus for a few weeks and get the college experience and live in the dorm and deal with all of that stuff. So I was a young kid. This was at the end of middle school. I was a young kid doing that, to getting involved in the Chuck Yeager's Young Eagles program, where I got to fly in a small aircraft with a pilot, and they gave me the controls. That was amazing. These experiences are out there. But even also the Engineer for a Day program, where I got to go to kind of like a fair for engineering and see all the different roles and different things that you could do as a scientist or as an engineer. The access to those type of programs, it really inspired me. It really gave me, opened my eyes, let me see things, right? Because if you just stay at home, you stay in your neighborhood, you stay in your hood, you don't get opportunities to know about these things. So you don't get excited. You don't have the excitement. You don't know that there's a potential for you to do those things, right? So from there, I started. I decided I had to decide. My dad was military, so I was like, I'm gonna join the military. Hey, they'll pay for my college, right? Or I wanted to go to college. That's what my mom wanted me to do. And so I went to the local school, and she went around the campus knocking on doors, and she found this program called the Summer Program for Academic Careers in Engineering. A summer program where I got to live on campus and learn about college and learn about engineering more. And that's what really locked it in for me. And after after she did that for me, after my mom really got me onto campus, from there, I took over. I internalized the same vision, the same drive that she instilled in me. And I started reaching out and going around campus and knocking on doors and saying, hey, is there opportunity for me? Hey, is there opportunity? You get turned down 10 times. You just need that one opportunity, that one chance. Searching for mentors. Maybe there's a bunch of people who say negative things, right? If people say, oh, you can't do it, you're not smart enough, you know, you'll never make it, you'll never go to college, you'll never, you know, get your technical skill, but you can find one person to believe in you, that one person can help you achieve great things. So from there, I signed up for all kinds of things, internship programs, research. I went to a big international conference. I was actually able to go to South Korea paid because of just doing research and getting engaged in things. And from there, went on to pursue my PhD and got it paid by just applying to things. So I got a fellowship that paid for me to get a PhD. I didn't pay. And from there, rose to the top of my class, the top of my university, and received the Order of Pegasus, which is the most prestigious and significant award awarded at my alma mater. So it all comes through seeking access. Get people out of your way so you can be great, right? That is kind of the goal. So now, you know, where am I today? I'm an associate professor. I direct Materials and Extremes Research Group, and I'm also the Energy Engineering Lead of the Aerospace Center here at UTEP. So I focus on the energy kind of side of research, nuclear power, hydrogen power, solar power, all the different ways that we can generate energy. That's what we're focusing on. I got my bachelor's, my master's, and PhD at my alma mater, the University of Central Florida. And then some highlights. I'm a co-director of the Partnership for Research in Ceramics and Polymers. I direct a nuclear engineering program. I'm the president and founder of the UTEP Black Affinity Group. And thus far, in my short career, I've raised $10 million of research funds that fund students to do the research that we do. It's the students who do the research. It's those, you know, students who come to UTEP, we take care of you. We get you involved. We get you in the lab. We get you using the 3D printers. Students are using my laser system. It's really, really great stuff, right? And beyond that, I'm a dad of two, and I've got some hobbies. I love to cook. I like to barbecue and smoke, you know, in the backyard barbecue. You know how it is. I brew beer, and I like to read. I like to read a lot of books, and from there, we could pause here, or we could talk a little bit about manufacturing. What do we want to do?
I think I'd like to open the floor for a few questions. So, so students, if you have questions, I know we have seen a lot, we have heard a lot. I am geeked. I'm ready to do everything from Hyperloop to barbecue. So, so students, if you have some questions, let's throw them in the chat right now. Just throw it in with your name, your grade, your school, and the question. And I'm gonna have Leslie or Miss Mieka, who's also in our staff, Miss Mieka Matthews, to go ahead and read off the questions that we get, because there's been a lot that's been said, and I'm like, so I'm trying not to change jobs. I'm just saying, just want to put that out there, UTEP. All right, so let's see what's come in. I don't see anything as of yet. So
we don't have a lot of questions, but we do have some comments. People said that that they appreciated hearing your story, and someone said that that they could tell that your mom and dad is wise.
Nothing like smart parents. All right. So I'm gonna let you finish up a little bit with the advanced manufacturing, and then we're gonna. Did you say something, Joyce? You're muted.
Sorry, Dr. Stewart, I have a question, right? Because you said something key to me, is that you did not pay for your doctoral degree. And I know oftentimes people, and a lot of our students might see as paying for school as a barrier. So how did you find out about the programs, or what steps do you need to take to get your advanced degrees financed?
Yeah, so there are a lot of programs that are out there that will help pay for your college. Scholarship programs, there are many number of them, and there are search engines online where you can put in your demographics. If you Black, hey, there's some opportunities out there for you. You just got to search for them. You got to search for them. And I know it can be hard. It can be very scary. It's like, I want to apply to college. How do I do that? I don't have anyone who's been there. I don't have anyone who knows how to navigate it. But there's a lot of information, and it's seeking that information. It's not waiting. It's not like, well, somebody's going to tell me eventually. No, you got to go for it. What I did that helped me a lot is I went and found some books. There are books that will tell you how to apply to scholarships for your bachelor's degree. And I know all of you get on Instagram and you see the kid who's has 15 universities have accepted this student and they got $2 million of scholarships. It's because they went and sought that knowledge, went online. Young Black male college scholarship programs, engineering diversity scholarship programs. That's for undergraduate. But then when you want to go get your grad degree, your master's or your Ph.D., type in the word fellowship. Just fellowship, engineering fellowship, science fellowship, diversity fellowship, and you'll find great programs. Like for me, I had the McKnight Doctoral Fellowship, but there's other great ones like the Ford Foundation Fellowship, the GEM Fellowship, I've got a long list, the National Defense Science and Engineering Fellowship, the NSF GRFP, Graduate Research Fellowship Program. There are so many of these programs. And what I do with the students at UTEP is I help them to know about those programs. I actually can share a link that I have on my website. I'll share it in the chat room of some scholarships as well as fellowship programs that students can go and look at. This is a short list. This is just my list, okay? There are literal search engines with thousands of opportunities for you. Now, the key when applying to these programs is not to apply to one, not to apply to two, it's to apply to 10, 20, or 30. To start, apply one or two at a time, learn how to write your application, get the materials together, write your statement of purpose, think about what your purpose is in trying to get this scholarship, and then just keep applying, apply. Every week, get one in. And next thing you know, you're that kid on Instagram who's been accepted to 20 universities and you've got X millions of dollars of scholarships and you're the hottest on the streets. So, but let me share that link. Are there other questions?
Kelvin, I want to add a little bit on that. So if you want to pursue college, finance is there. There's no worry about it. There is a Pell Grant, there's a financial aid, there's so many aids available. All you have to do is just commit to the college. And you probably don't have to pay much. And so there's a merit-based scholarship, there's a need-based financial aid. All you have to do is just pick up a phone and call the financial aid office, and you'll see that everything is there for you. And you can also connect with organizations like that. Every university has organization that can help you. 99% of you in today's call will not have to pay much to pursue a college degree. And then you can sweeten the deal with all Kelvin says, so many fellowships. NASA itself has so many fellowships available for undergraduate, master's, and PhD students. So financial situation is not a barrier to your education. It's there for you. You apply to the state schools, they'll be there for you. Okay, so all you have to do, just commit to your education and it will happen. Okay, so, and feel free to drop me an email if you say, well, you're not right. I applied this university and they're not giving me financial aid. I will talk to that president on behalf of you, okay? So just drop in, and if you commit to college, these states universities are there for you, okay? So you can do it.
Absolutely, I forgot to mention that yes, there are, just applying to the college itself, the financial aid office is going to look at your need, it's going to look at your financial situation, and they will provide you with aid on your own without you having to apply separately to a scholarship. So applying to the school itself is going to get you some financial aid, some funds to pay for your school.
Dr. Stewart, somebody asked what motivated you to go to college. With your mama, it sounds like you don't have a choice, but I'm gonna let you answer. What motivated you to go to college?
My mom was a big inspiration for me. So my mom, she started college. She started college when she was young, going to Bethune-Cookman College at the time. Now it's a university, and she had my older brother, and so she got out of college. She stopped going to college to take care of him. My dad joined the military to take care of everyone, and it took her a long time before she decided that she wanted to go back. And so she went back to Florida Memorial College, now a university, and she got her degree in music education. And so for her, it always was her goal to go back to get her degree, but she also wanted to make sure that every one of us, that we got the education we needed, or skills, a trade, a craft that we could use so we could have a career, so that we could take care of our families. So she really inspired me. I mean, she got 4 kids and she's studying in the dorms, and she's taking a break from college. So it was tough trying to do that algebra, but she was able to do it. And so from there, it gave me a passion to see how hard she had to work. And then I knew that I wanted to make both my parents proud. My dad was overseas, man. He was over there, during the wars, so I had to make a decision. I had to do something. I like to read books. I like science fiction books. I thought I was going to be a writer. It's like, oh, I'm going to write. Yeah, I'm going to. But I love the math. I ended up loving math and science, and it's hard. It's not always fun, but you get those eureka moments. I got it right this time, on the quiz. And, and it went from there.
That is awesome. I kind of want to hear the same from Dr. Alston and Dr. Chouduri. Like, what was like that epiphany moment where you're just like, I got to choose this. I got to choose to go to college. I got to choose to get through high school and cross over. We'll start with Dr. Alston. Oh, you're muted.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. So I jumped into my stuff at NASA, but I'm from rural North Carolina. So I know that's a world apart from what you all deal with and see in Chicago, Illinois, but I grew up with farms around me. We grow crops and livestock. That's where I'm from. You may not hear it in my voice, but that's actually where I'm from. So, the area is poor. People, generations stay right there where I'm from and don't leave. I just knew that I could not stay in that town for the rest of my life. It just would be soul crushing to stay where I'm from for the rest of my life when there's such a huge world out there waiting to be explored. I grew up with in a single parent home. My mom raised me from age 9 until, in my 30s. And, like Dr. Stewart, I found that I had an affinity for math, and that affinity for math really is what opened a lot of doors for me. And like you said, finding opportunities to pay for school, they're there. And, I'm a little bit older than he is. And I remember it was even harder because, you didn't have the World Wide Web that made things as readily accessible as they are now. But if you're a minority, Latinx, African-American, female, there are so many opportunities for you to go on. I ended up as a math major, real talk, because I started off as a chemistry major, and I just could not deal with the labs. The labs were really long and challenging, and I decided I was kind of over that laboratory life. I have no other excuse. I decided I was over that laboratory life. So I went into mathematics and I left the labs behind. But I have no regrets. Like being a STEM practitioner was absolutely the best decision of my life.
How would, just really quick, how would a high school student, right? Because we've talked a lot about those, after high school, but let's say we've got like 7th grade, because we do have 7th graders on the call. Let's say we've got like, 10th graders. How would they get, involved in something that's related to NASA or UTEP? Like what are like some simple key opportunities for them?
So we have a very large NASA-funded K-12 program. We do it's called Aerospace Academy program for students from K to 12 all level, and we do a 36 hours program on Cube satellite, unmanned aerial systems, and robotics. So there's so many program available even in your high school that you can just choose to participate. There's so many competitions. So for us, if you want to, we have summer camps with around 600-700 students every. It's a free summer camp, and we run a 36-hour curriculum with teachers and the students. So right now we have 3 programs. Right now, I just say small satellite program, a drone program, as well as a program with a robotics system. So you can get involved at any level you want to. Also, our research center, we also take high school interns. So if you want to be an intern for us, I'm this meeting offering 5 interns to all the students I'm committing that internship to you. So if you want, I'm offering 5 high school interns because you let me talk to you this morning. So it's there. And I have students coming from Howard, Prairie View A&M, Tuskegee, summer interns. So we will provide high school intern to give you experience working with the college student. So there are so many. NASA has so many programs, and if you send me an email, I'll give you a list of programs available in your neighborhood that NASA can help you. NASA is one of the premier agencies that believe in that going to space is only possible if we train you and if you help us to do that. So we will have that. And I'm committing 5 interns, high school interns. If you choose, send through MC, send me your CV, and we'll take care of it.
So everybody on this call, just a little FYI, everybody on this call should have my email. Either the students have it or the person who's registered has it. So you can email me directly, and then we'll make sure that we get it over to Dr. Ashan. You were saying, Joyce?
Yes, because someone posed the question in the chat, and Dr. Alston both touched on it. Is someone said if you have, because oftentimes you may have a student who's interested in STEM programming, but they may not be strong in math or strong in science. So how do you recommend that they work on that, or
none of them is a predictor of your success. Just because you had some bad grade in high school, no, it's no big deal. To be honest, it's not. It's what you want. Never let anybody tell you what you can or can't do. Okay, there will be bad times you have, but that's not, I have not seen a predictor. The GPA SAT score has anything to do with college success. I'll be honest. Okay, I have students who come with very poor GPA in high school, now are big NASA engineers. So just because you have some issues in high school, we can all take care of it while you're in the college. University like University of Texas El Paso is a minority serving university. This is a research one university, but in our own term. We are an open access university. Anybody who wants to pursue a degree, our door is open for them. We don't put SAT, GPA or something as a barrier for people to get to. Remember, we are a research one university. There are only 130 of them in the country, but with our own term, it's an open access university. So I'll tell you that whatever you had in high school, whatever challenges you have in your math is the most easiest subject you can think of. The reason you are not good in math because they didn't teach you well. It's not your fault. Okay. So if it's not absolutely your fault, math is the most simplest subject you can think of. Okay. So those are not a barrier for you to pursue science and engineering. High school grade has nothing to do with your college. I'm very bold on that. I'm telling you outright. Because with my experience, 21 years in a minority serving school, I can tell you that Just because you have a poor high school GP or some bad grade in math, no big deal. Okay, you can still succeed in science and engineering. You just have to, as Kelvin said, you have to authentic to be your dream. And you say, I'm gonna pursue it no matter what it is. Okay, and there'll be so much help. Come to school like HBCU. If you are challenged some in high school, don't try Georgia Tech and other places. I'm openly telling you, try University of Texas, El Paso, try Prairie View A&M, try Tuskegee, try Howard. Okay, those are really focused on taking people that has not fully prepared for college as mentoring challenge to do that. Our HBCUs are cornerstone of educating Black engineers in this country. Our minority serving schools like UTEP are the cornerstone. Most of the Hispanics and Black engineers are produced by us. University like us. Apply here, you'll be taken care of.
That is really, really awesome. I know sometimes, so for me, I'm more of a creative, and then I've got the brain side that's more business, but math has never been my strong suit. So I definitely blame my math teacher. Thank you for that permission. But for the rest of us, you know, who are just like, I don't know if I have that math. I think Dr. Alston and Dr. Stewart, can you guys talk about how you, you know, maybe dealt with either students or yourself getting over stuff that was boring or that just was not, you know, it just really was not flipping, you know, it wasn't your cup of tea. How did you guys get past that? How do students get past that?
Kelvin is very good in math, so I don't think he can answer that.
Yeah, well, he might speak to the student.
I wasn't always very good at math. So, you know, when I was a high school student, I started high school in a magnet program because my mom signed me up for a magnet program, right? And that first semester, I hit that magnet or the honors algebra, and I failed. I failed. Had to take summer school. And it was like a lot of the comments are, the math itself, it was hard to connect to it. It was hard to, because it's, you know, math is rule-based, follow the rules. This is a procedure, order. It was hard to connect to it, right? But what helped me was actually my interest in video games. So I know that a lot of you guys like to play video games and you want, you know, you play them. But back in the day, there was, and even today, there's things like Minecraft where you can make your own video game, right? So I started getting into that and I learned like programming is math. And if you want your character to do this or to do that, you have to program them using logic and rules. And so I think for science education, it's about connecting all of those rules and all of the rigidity of math and science to the fun. What's the fun part of it? What's the outcome? The robot goes around the path and does what I programmed it to do. Or the drone is gonna fly in this pattern because I programmed that pattern. So things that you can do to start to love math and start to love science is get involved in programs in Chicago, such as First Robotics, the First Robotics competition, which is, I think, all over the city. I mean, it's a national program where you learn how to program robots. And through that, you have to use math, right? But also, you can look at maker spaces. All around the nation, there are these things called maker spaces where you can go and learn how to use a 3D printer. There's printers there that you can print things, and you'll have to learn how to build your models. And you can use the creative side of your brain, but then you also have to use some of the math. You have to use some of the science on how you design things. So it's, you know, math itself is a skill, right? And skills are things that you have to practice in order to get better, right? Like if you're playing basketball and you can't dribble, you got to learn how to dribble. You're never going to get picked for the team if you can't dribble. Go dribble around the neighborhood, walk around, you know, dribble your ball from school to home. The same thing with math. Practice that skill, and then you'll become excellent. You'll become great, and it no longer is a barrier.
Dr. Alston, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I do. So, you know, I've been reading in the chat, and I just want to co-sign everything Dr. Stewart said. You know, there are a lot of opportunities for you to incorporate math in the things you're already doing, like robotics. First Robotics, NASA has a robotics team that's high school students can participate in maker spaces. All these things really help to integrate activities you're already doing and really show you how math is really integrating into your day. But what I want to leverage here is I've been an adjunct professor of math at community colleges, so at trade schools. And by and large, most of my students come in and they have, a mental hang up around math. They straight up tell me they hate it. And what I found is really, it comes down to what I call, there's the math, there's the really technical math, and then there's the math you need to get by your everyday. And you do this math and you're not even aware that you're doing it. If you go into a store, you want to buy some sneakers and they're on sale. You want to know how much that final sneaker price is. You're doing that math every day. You don't need some fancy calculator, some fancy program to figure that out. You're doing the math that makes your life livable every day. So as an adjunct professor, I focus on that type of math. Because once you understand that the math is integrated into every piece of your day-to-day life, it doesn't become as scary. Because what you do is you then take piece by piece by piece. And once you have a solid foundation and you realize, oh my gosh, math is in everything I've been doing, and I just didn't know I was doing it. It becomes a lot easier for you to make that jump to higher level mathematics. That's really what, as an adjunct professor, I focus on, was helping students understand that they do math every day. For those who are technicians, math is integrated into everything that you do. You might not be explicitly breaking out formulas every time you want to do a thing, but math is integrated into everything you're doing every day. And so it's just a matter of you gaining your confidence and recognizing those skills are transferable to whatever the level math you want to take it to.
There were two other questions, semi-math related, right? So one of them was related to SpaceX. So I just kind of want to put that out there so that you guys can talk a little bit about SpaceX. But then another one was about just advanced manufacturing as a whole, right? And just kind of breaking that down, the term, and then speaking just a little bit about how you're involved with advanced manufacturing and how, like for our students, in the Manufacturing Connect program, they get trained in blueprint reading, shop math, using, calipers and measuring devices. Is that even important coming to, UTEP and going into working with NASA? And if it is important, how is that type of foundation, good for them?
Yeah, I responded that about SpaceX. So it's not only SpaceX, to be honest. It is Lockheed Martin's, it's Raytheon, it's Blue Origin, all of them. So all the skill set you just mentioned is really important. Okay, so the reading blueprint, shop maths, and do things. So there are, as I said, there are the two categories of technology workforce we need. One of them is the technician level, which is typically require an associate degree and bunch of certification. And they are that one actually in the shop, produce things. And so those are technologies. So you need a 2-year associate degree for that. So that could be machining, that could be fabrication, that could be programming. So all the skill set you are telling the students has a very, very high demand. Our country simply does not have that many people who are expert on that. So you just have to look. So you will be able to easily integrate to defense workforce, because either you work for a fighter aircraft program, missiles program, and rocket program. Somebody has to build those things, and that will be the people you are training in. And the next level is actually the engineering workforce. They typically often don't go to actually shop and build things, although I want them to do it, but they're not good at it. They're good at designing and producing analysis. They are the one who develop the design for that, and the technical workforce usually produce them. So you can enter any path of the workforce. So you can get an engineering degree and be an engineering workforce, or you can get a technology degree or certification, what MC is doing, also get into the workforce. Even if you're in a technician workforce, you can always get another 2-year degree and become engineering workforce. So the path is wide open. There is a lot of jobs, what you just said, that so many jobs in machining, so many jobs in fabrication, so many jobs is wire harnessing, so many jobs in electronics, all those jobs there. And you, as the United States, ramping up is manufacturing, right? So there is no single definition of advanced manufacturing. that advanced manufacturing in our definition is that we do better than anybody else. So our technology is advanced, right? So for instance, you want to try to do electronics. So I don't know whether you train on that. So there's a robotics machine that put all the component on the electronics. If you're a small operation, you can put it by yourself, hand. So when you do really the advanced techniques, then we call advanced manufacturing, right? So I cannot really tell what advanced not, but everything you guys are doing, it is advanced manufacturing. It is not only screwdriver tightening things, okay? It's really doing that. So that skill set is phenomenally, even if you pursue engineering, knowing what you're just teaching them, it is really, really important. You know, that makes you very skilled on what doing things. So so there is no really, no shortcoming of learning what you are just teaching them. Blueprint, of course you have to learn how to blueprint, but engineers generate the blueprints. They are the one who put the designs, and they assume that everything can be built. Like my student, they design everything that it can be built. And the technician says, no, you are crazy. That cannot be built. Okay, so those kind of things. So again, I'm going back again and again your math definition. I don't personally think, I'm an aerospace engineer, I don't think that math is a barrier for engineering program. It's just earlier we used to taught engineering differently. We don't do that anymore. Engineering is a very creative profession. Okay, so if you want to do and build things, imagine things, that's engineering. Not necessarily, because there are other groups who'll be doing analysis, like that's why I say Kelvin. Kelvin is a phenomenal math. So he does computational work. But I have people who just design things and build things, right? So they don't need that. So engineering is a diversified skill workforce right now. So I would not consider that your dislike for math is an impediment to pursue science and engineering. I want to just conclude saying that.
I feel like all three of you are really motivated, right? Like you love your job, you love, the path that you've been on. How do you stay motivated? And how have some of your college students that you've interacted with, how did they stay motivated? Because college is a beast. At least it was for me when I was in college.
So I have Pilar Gonzalez. She's a senior PhD student working on rocket engines. Okay, so she's a Hispanic woman out of El Paso neighborhood. I will ask Pilar to see that whether it's me yelling at her all the time or all the student is the motivation factor or not, or does she get some of my passion that build things. Okay, Pilar, can you speak a few minutes?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, hi. So yeah, how Dr. Chouduri said, my name is Pilar Gonzalez. I was born in Mexico and I came to the US. I've been living here most of my life. And I think one of my greatest motivations is seeing the success at the end. Even when we're doing something and like you're struggling with your project and it's giving you so much trouble, you feel like nothing's going right, but eventually you'll succeed, with you have the support of all your professors, of everyone in the university and the community, and eventually you just get to see your project succeed, and it just makes everything worth it. Seeing maybe your satellite gets launched or your component is being used in a satellite or something like that. I think that really keeps me motivated, just knowing that at the end of the tunnel there's going to be that success and it's going to be awesome.
So Pilar works in a rocket engine project with NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. She's building a special she's the team lead. She managed 5-6 people as a senior doctoral student. But Pilar, I would like you to ask you that what brought you in engineering and what motivates you to pursue actually PhD? She was also interns in NASA Marshall Space Flight Center several times. So can you tell me why you choose mechanical engineering or this line?
Yeah, so my interest started, it was pretty simple. I saw pictures that NASA would put up from space of planets and like distant nebulas and, pictures from Mars. And when I saw that, I thought, wow, that is so cool. I want to do that. That's kind of what set me on that path. Then Dr. Stewart mentioned earlier, FIRST robotics. That's something that also really got me into engineering, just getting to build a robot and interact with other people. Again, it was so much fun getting to build something and make something and then see it work. And even if it doesn't work perfectly, it's something that you made and it's with your team and you got to learn so much and you can keep improving. So that's what really got me into the path of engineering. As for my PhD, the decision kind of came along while I was doing my undergrad. As I was getting close to the end of my undergrad, I felt like there's still so much more for me to learn. And, there's always a lot to learn. Even if it's not engineering related, there's always something to learn. And it's always worth it to learn something new. So I felt like it would be great just to stay in school longer and keep learning, keep working with people. And it's really been worth it so far. There's a lot that I've learned so far, even outside of my from my bachelor's and my PhD. So it's always worth it to learn new things.
Yeah, Pilar is one of my most favorite students. You could figure it out. That's why she's on the call, and she is a leader in making. Okay, it's an amazing woman, and not only her technical depth as a PhD student, but her ability to lead a very complex project. Even when I gave up, she doesn't give up. So that's her strength. So as a very example of what young people, our country can achieve, like you, all of you, attending the call. So I just wanted to introduce Pilar. So
thank you so much. Thank you, Pilar. I do have one question. There was another question that was in the chat that was just talking about some of the high school programs and when they run and so forth. And my thinking was that Dr. Ashan and Dr. Alston or Dr. Stewart, that if you could just email me the links of websites that that are for the internships and the high school programs at the school, et cetera. And then we'll make sure that we compile it and we ship it out, right, via email, of course, to all of those who registered, because it'll just make it easier versus us trying to pop it all into the chat. That chat's getting a little scary at this point, just saying. So we'll make sure that everybody knows when the deadlines are, what the programs are. I know earlier Dr. Stewart mentioned about his link that talks about some of the scholarships that are available. I know we have a lot of seniors and a lot of high schools that are on the call that are hosting many students within their classroom. So I think once you send that to me, we'll compile it and then we'll go ahead and we'll email that out. Okay. I'm going to take a minute. I think this is a great time for us to take our picture. So if everybody can turn on their cameras, and once the majority of the cameras are on as much as possible, we're gonna take our little photo for prosperity.
I like your jacket, Kelvin.
That is a nice jacket. Just saying, that's a really nice jacket, Kelvin. All right. I see some of you. All right. We'll get as many as we can. I love it. All right. We'll give it like 10 more seconds. And then we're all just gonna, I don't know, we can wave. I know some people don't have cameras, they might be on the phone, but on the count of 3, we're gonna do, I don't know, a wave, a thumbs up. What do you guys think? Wave could be a little scary. So we'll do a thumbs up on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay. Thumbs up. Very nice. All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll make sure we post that to all of the world. Yes, you will be seen. All right, so we're gonna take a few more questions from students. I'm gonna go back to the chat. So students, this is really your optimum time. These are individuals who have, come across waters, as Pilar is from Mexico, and Chouduri, he's from India, and Calvin, he's from down the street. So Dr. Stewart, she's from up the block. So this is a great time for you guys to ask those crazy questions that you've been waiting to ask for people who work for NASA. You saw the videos. Feel like we've gotten some good ones. So let's see if there's other questions in here.
So while we're waiting on people to post questions, I just want to add something, because I know when we asked those on our panel about how they got to college and kind of some of the things that they've been through, right? Like Calvin shared that he had the support and encouragement of his mom, right? And so for some of us, our parents didn't go to college, right? And so they may not encourage that or may not understand what it takes to finish, right? And so for me, I'm a first-gen student. Neither one of my parents went to college, right? And so what I had to do was learn, right? And so when I got on campus, I was fortunate that one of the first places that I went was the Multicultural Affairs office on our campus, right? And there are tons of programs for first generation students. And then you have the TRIO programs that they're for first generation students. You find your mentors. When you find a subject that you love, I teach as well, right? So I'm a social worker. So I teach bachelor's and master's level social work classes. When you teach, right, you do it because you want to give back. You love this subject. And so you find something that you love, you find a professor, they will walk through it with you, they will support you, and then you connect with the right people, right? Because we also have friends that are like, I want to quit. And it's like, nope, we're not quitting. We started together, we're gonna all finish together, right? So I know for some of you, all of this conversation, it seems like I can't go this far, I can't dream this big, I can't think that far along, but you really can. It's just a matter of finding somebody that's going to get you to the point of getting in the doors at school, and whether you decide you want to go to a community college or a four-year university, and then once you get on campus, connecting with the right people and just taking each step, because you really can. Even though it seems like this is way too much, you too can do all of these things. I just wanted to share that.
That is really awesome. I'm glad that you brought up about first generation. And just a quick correction, it's Bangladesh for Dr. Ashan. So being first generation, as she mentioned, means that nobody else in your family has gone to college. They haven't finished, it's the first time out. I also am first generation. And I think there's a few people on the Manufacturing Connect staff that are Dee Dee Jones, first generation. So, if you want to learn more, being able to do that is exactly what you talked about, Joyce, reaching out and seeing what's in there. There's another question that I wanted to address that was in the chat, just talking about what it's like to work at NASA. Like what's the inclusivity, right? So many different ethnicities from so many different places. What is that like, and how are you embraced, right? Because you guys are from different places, different cultures. I can open up to the entire crew.
I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. NASA still remains about 80% white male. I'm just going to be aerospace in general is white male dominated. So I just want to give you context. When you show up in these places, you have to show up in your full self, because you will likely be the only minority in the room. And I don't say that to scare you, I say that to prepare you, because what that means is you have to walk into these spaces fully owning everything that you have and that you are. You cannot let yourself become intimidated. I would say with the new administration the Biden administration, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a key focus of the administration, and that has filtered down to all of the governmental agencies. So every agency just about is launching new initiatives to increase diversity and inclusion at its workplaces, not just racial diversity. We're talking able-bodiedness. We're talking about people with disabilities. We are talking about socioeconomic diversity. So not just people who come from multiple generations of college-educated families. I'm the first generation off a sharecropping farm. So, all of us who are where we are now have these stories. It's talking about getting people who are not just from urban places, but also rural places to show up in these places, because it brings a diversity of thought. So NASA is very team oriented. So the better you work in teams, the better off you'll be. And working in teams really involves, you know, what I call, what people will call soft skills. How do you interact with people? How do you resolve conflict? How do you communicate effectively, efficiently, so that everybody understands what their roles are and can proceed with the project at hand? So if you're someone who enjoys a lot of teamwork, especially those people who are technicians who work in a lot of our laboratories and manufacturing places, they work in ensemble groups together to produce models, produce different materials, and they work with people from all different education backgrounds, from Ph.D.s to just high school diplomas. Once you're behind the NASA Center gate, the degrees, I won't say they don't matter, but what matters is what's in your head. You know, what skills are you bringing, and how do you make the team better? That's really what is important, is a big driver at NASA. How do you interact with teams? How do you problem solve? How do you think about it? I think you raised the question earlier about what would you tell kids who are struggling with math? What can they do to improve themselves? You know, I was going to say, and I think this holds true no matter what it is, it's about having a growth mindset. And what that means is you're not someone who gets discouraged when you run into challenges, because life is a journey and it's not going to be smooth and easy all the time. That's when you develop your character, is in those moments of challenges and trials. That's when you really figure out who you are. So having a growth mindset in being able to see a problem, learn from your problem or your challenge and your failure, and being able to use that nugget of information you get to take you to the next level. That's the thing, no matter what it is you're doing. I don't care what it is, math, engineering, technicians, you have to have a growth mindset that allows you to overcome failure and keep pushing towards a solution. Thanks.
That's good. That's really good. Dr. Stewart, did you want to comment?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to follow on, I mean, the growth mindset, that is exactly, you know, how I will operate. It's just like a part of the makeup of the mindset. So now as like a professor, how do I fund the research projects? How do I get money so that I can have students work in the lab? I have to go and propose ideas and concepts to the government. So I'm, you know, sitting and writing and thinking about all these what's the future, advanced manufacturing technology, you know, what is the science? What are the things we need to do? And the government may say, hey, we don't like it, and reject it. And so there's, you know, we write these proposals, we keep writing them. You get maybe 20% of those are awarded, and that's how you survive, you know? So this same mindset of apply, learn, improve, get better. That's how we advance science itself. So you have that same mindset about yourself, your personal, you know, your personal situation, who you are. I want to get better. I got a vision. Where do I want to go? I want to be a scientist. I want to work with robots. Well, how do I get there? What do I need to do? Do I need to get better at math? Let me work on that. Do I need to, you know, am I good in teams? Maybe I need to join some teams and get practice, get experience working in different teams so that I can get better at it and learn how to be a leader. You know, developing yourself is going to help you to get where you need to be. And knowing that you're not perfect where you are, you can get better. You can always get better. You can always overcome, as long as you think, how do I do it? What are the steps that I might need to take? Small steps, baby steps to get better.
That is really, really interesting. I'm going to ask Dee to kind of chime in, because she places a lot of our students into jobs where they get a chance to work with teams and they get a chance to work in those advanced manufacturing sections. Dee, did you have any questions, you know, for the students who you do place, right? And they have to, you know, kind of problem solve and those type of things that you might correlate with some of the things that they're talking about right now?
Of course. Just from the spring break internship that we had a few weeks ago, the kids were separated in teams, and who's going to be the leader? Who's going to start off? And one young lady emailed me in the chat and said, hey, they're not doing anything. I said, so that gives you an opportunity to step Step up and make things happen. You can't just sit here and let no one do anything. So why don't you be the voice and you be the leader? And that's exactly what she did. Okay, who's gonna do what? These are the roles. Who wants the roles? We got to get going, guys. And, you know, she made the team go further. So at work, when we take our live tours and we listen to the supervisors and the owners and people in management who talk about how they started as a janitor, who talk about how they started as a machine operator, and through their own efforts, they progressed to leadership roles because they were vocal. They asked for things that when they found smarter and easier way to do things, they told somebody, they shared information, and with that, they grew into different roles. When they were, when they wanted a new challenge because they were bored with what was going on, they didn't quit. They just asked to be trained in another role. So your motivation is totally up to you, how far you can go, and especially in the field of manufacturing where there are no barriers. Companies love people who love to learn. Company love people who love to move, who master a role, who wants to move up to the next role and continue to grow so that they can bring entry-level people in who's gonna master a role and move up into another role. And a lot of times you don't have to go to school, or the companies will pay for your education, or you may just need a certification to get to the next level, or they'll train you in-house for free. And it comes with $2 or $3. So, you know, it's totally up to you. You can write your own ticket in the field of manufacturing, especially right now. Young folks are really, really needed because you're into technology. You're into doing things smarter, faster, easier. So you are an asset. Wow, take advantage of it. There are a lot of people on unemployment. Go to work right now. You know, graduate, go into the field of work while you go to school. Or think about the things that you want to do in the future, because there are many, many opportunities. Apprenticeships are back, where companies are partnering with local colleges, and you can go to school while working for free. There are many opportunities.
Thank you. That was really, really good. You brought up a lot, but there are two particular things that I think that I kind of want to hear from Dr. Stewart and Dr. Alston. She talked a little bit about, you know, not having a degree, and all of our conversations before was all about the degrees. So what's the happy medium? Can you do something with a certification in NASA or at a university or at a company who has a contract with NASA? Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? Either of you.
Yeah, so you know, definitely getting a certification. There are a couple of different roles I can see. One is computer-aided drafting. Most of the actual modeling work for designs comes from a CAD operator, a person who knows how to use a computer and make a 3D model. Most of those guys, 2-year degrees, they get an associate's degree, they learn how to use the software, they get good at GTD, geometric tolerance and dimensioning. That's a part of that degree, and the engineers don't know how to do it. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. And it's very, very important for manufacturing, right? So getting skills in computer-aided drafting, which many high schools have, you know, the classroom, they'll have a classroom where you can start getting those skills, those basic skills, is a good place to start. But also test engineers. So whenever you're manufacturing in large scales, you need to take a sample or two and proof test it to make sure that the thousands of parts you made are actually good parts. And so test engineers, they operate machines that break and test samples of things that are manufactured to see if they're going to survive. Things like in the automotive industry, in the aerospace industry, pretty much in any consumer product, anything we use, you have test engineers. They get training on how to operate those systems and then how to take some measurements. So things like, you know, having skills with calipers, basic science equipment, physically being able to do those experiments. and do them systematically. Repeatability, reproducibility is important. Get some training with basic hands-on stuff. Test engineers, not always do you need a 2-year degree for that. Usually you need some specialized training on how to operate the system. And then lastly, just in advanced in manufacturing itself, getting some skills with a CNC, a mill, a 3D printer, a laser cutter, some of those types of skills, having some training to how to operate those safely, how to make G code from a CAD model. That is a whole nother sector as well. So if you can get some of those fundamental skills, there are jobs in general, tons of jobs out there that you could go and apply to.
That's really great. I want to hit a few more questions before we start to wrap up. There was a very funny one that was in there, and I have to ask it. Have you guys ever tasted space food? Just making that point.
Actually, I want to talk about that. There's a program run with the Human Exploration and Operations Mission Director at NASA. So that's the part of NASA that really focuses on putting people and things up in space. Every year, they for the last about 5 years, they hold a high school-led project where students who are doing culinary arts get to propose and design and cook food that could make it on its way to the ISS. So these competitions occur nationwide. There's a down selection process, and that winning team actually will have their food made for deployment on the ISS. So this is another way where NASA is a very technical organization, but we need people who do things that are not always quote unquote technical to enhance our capabilities.
That is so awesome. Dee often, and in our program, so on one side of our program, we get the kids who are hardcore engineer and they want to do the CNC, the computer numerical controlled machines. And on the other side, Dee ends up getting the kids who want to go to culinary school. So this is awesome. This is, we are excited to hear this information. All right, cool. Oh, okay, so we got another one that's kind of interesting. Says, are space movies interesting to you guys? And if so, which one is your favorite?
A fun thing to do is to watch Armageddon and to point out how many engineering and scientific inaccuracies are in that movie. That's a fun thing to do. So I have a problem. Like I love sci-fi movies, but the whole time I'll just talk and say, oh, this is wrong. You can't do this. Physics is messed up. That's denser than that. It's gonna float. It's not gonna sink. So I love sci-fi movies, but Armageddon is a pretty good one.
What about you, Dr. Alston?
Like Dr. Stewart, I watch sci-fi movies and I turn the science part of my brain off and I just watch it as a normal consumer. But if I had to say, if I picked a movie, I do like sci-fi for the fantasy perspective. It really allows me to kind of disconnect and go somewhere else. But if I had to pick a movie that I really tore apart as a climate scientist, it would be, oh my gosh, now it's escaping me. It came out in 2004. How did I forget this movie? I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on the name of this movie, but like Dr. Stewart, there's so many climatic inconsistencies that I can't watch it without wanting to throw something at my TV.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't think that NASA is going to replace your television. Just saying. They won't. Yeah, I didn't think so. I did have another question that's just kind of like, so for students who, I'm going in two different directions. I'm going to ask the silly question first. Are there any pets or any animals that are typically trained for, within your department or going into space that, going anytime soon? Any animals? I know typically in the past we've had like dogs or there's been, monkeys.
So yeah, as you said accurately, NASA in the early days when they were trying to prototype and really understand what types of G-forces these astronauts will be exposed to, some of their solar radiation limits, and they were trying to get some good human approximations. They did use, chimpanzees, some other four-legged animals. But what you see now occurring on ISS, there are some experiments that actually do occur with, I'm more familiar with like mice. They do a lot of research with mice on ISS because it's obviously you have a pretty big population, but they do things to try to understand how space, long-term space flight impacts things, not only cognition, digestion. They also are trying to understand how sexual reproduction occurs in space, because all of these are things that need to be understood before humans really conduct long-term space missions.
That's good. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going in between the chats. I think the last part would be just to make sure that we confirm that we have all the internship program information that's going to be sent. And I see another question. Now, I believe that this is talking about individuals that are going off into space, and then, but then there's a question about returning from space. I just want to make sure.
I think it might have been about the animals. They're interested in knowing how they get back.
Okay, there we go. Do they come back?
Some animals do. So they come down in capsules. Same thing, just like, imagine this, ISS, everywhere humans are, there's always what? Trash. We actually have to have, I won't say missions, but there are activities where the ISS expels trash off of the space station. A lot of times those things burn up on re-entry into the atmosphere. But yeah, a lot of the live animal, we'll call those live animal projects and those experiments do make it back down to Earth on descent.
That's good. I'm glad that, it's safe, because they're so small. There's another question that was in here. Do you guys have any specific role models or individuals who've really inspired you? And this is also for Pilar.
I want to say one of my biggest role models is my older sister. She's not in engineering, she's in biology, but I guess always being around her and learning new things from her, just seeing her always like working to do what she wants has always just inspired me to also try to do my best and do what I can to help humanity.
Making the world a better place, very important. What about you guys?
I think for me, my role models, I've got a few, and it's kind of evolved over time. For me, my mom definitely, her, taking care of us, so deciding to stop school so she could take care and raise 4 children, but then saying, she believes in education and going back and getting her degree while taking care of us knuckleheads. That was just an amazing thing and an inspiration for me to want to make sure that I would go as far as I could to make her proud. But then also, it's an important thing to see representation. And for me, I didn't see it when I went to college. I was looking around, I don't see nobody look like me. But I got in a program, and I got a mentor who was a Black professor of mechanical engineering, Ali Gordon, he was out of Georgia Tech, and he originally went to Howard. And so me and him got talking, and he helped me to start doing research. He was my Ph.D. advisor. So seeing that representation, seeing somebody look like me, made me believe that I could do what they're doing. He can do it. Oh, I can do that too. You know what I mean? So that was really, and him, rising to associate dean at my alma mater, that's given me a lot of motivation. But in terms of inspiration, Neil Tyson deGrasse, the way he communicates science, the way he makes you passionate, the passion he speaks, the way he speaks about the cosmos and science, and makes you want to learn. It makes you want to know more. It makes you curious. And so I hope that that's the next step, that I can kind of get some of that energy and become like him.
That's totally awesome. Dr. Alston?
Like Dr. Stewart, I have a few. First would be my grandmother. So my grandmother taught in segregated schools, and she was one of the first teachers that integrated my county's high schools. So I come from a family on my mom's side of educators, and my grandmother just provided that really, she provided sage advice on how to navigate life. She poured nuggets into me at a young age that I didn't really reap the benefits of till later. I would also have to say, I'm from Nassau Langley, so I hope that name is a bell of recognition. So the movie Hidden Figures, that talked about Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan. Well, one of the women who was also brought in as a Black computer, her name is Dr. Christine Darden. She's from my home state of North Carolina, and she went on to get her Ph.D. in aerospace engineering, and she developed the code that models the sonic boom of airplanes. She's known as a Miss Sonic Boom. When I came to Nassau Langley, she was at Nassau Langley, and she became, a really strong mentor for me. Then there's also, if I had to have a stretch goal, if you will, it would be Dr. Claudia Alexander. She is, she's deceased now, but she used to be the project manager out of JPL, and she managed a lot of the early projects that led to us landing on Mars and exploring some of the Jovian moons. And lastly, there's a woman that actually had a direct hand in me getting hired at Nassau Langley, and her name is Miss Michelle Farabee. She, like myself, is a mathematician, and she looked through applications and she chose me. She handpicked me and groomed me, and she still is my mentor to this day, 17 years later. So I appreciate what they've all shown me about representation and how we can show up in these spaces and make paths for people to come behind us.
The three of you spoke, each spoke about a person, right, who either, really inspired or really, as you said, groomed, right, and poured into you. How would some of the high school students start this, right? Because we've got some kids that are on here, they're just in ninth grade. How do you find a mentor? How do you find a mentor that's safe, that's really gonna, look out for your best, and really be able to help you to make the proper decisions and help you to look past what maybe some of your friends are doing or family member might discourage you from doing? What's the question or some of the top questions that they should be asking?
Well, definitely there's a couple of things that you can do. One thing I know is that as a young Black man growing up, I've had people say crazy stuff to me. I've had a teacher say, "You're never not going to be anything." I've had, I've been surrounded by police cars growing up, almost arrested for stuff I didn't do. I've experienced a lot of adversity, and yet at the same time, there's always somebody that you can talk to. One of your teachers, your counselor, there's somebody maybe it's somebody at the church, maybe it's the sister at the church, the one who's always telling you to sit up front. There's always somebody that you can reach out to who can help motivate you, or you can talk about what your dreams are, and they can try to help you in whatever way they can to get there. But in addition, I think you should look to programs. That's what helped me. Look to these programs like FIRST Robotics. Look to the things like maker spaces. Look to the coaches of the chess team. Look to the people who may have the knowledge or the skill sets to get you information that you may not be able to get at home. And once you got that little seed of information, grow that knowledge. Go online. You got your phone, you on Instagram, get off Instagram, get on Google some of these things and find places where you can achieve your dreams.
That's awesome. Dr. Alston, any input?
I will say that the people who believed in me in high school were not always my direct teachers. I grew up, like I said, in a poor rural farming community. So the things that happen to people there are a little different than what you may experience in Chicago. But I do know what it's like to have people not believe in you, not believe that you can have dreams and can work towards those things. I've been told that I'm pretty smart for a Black girl. I'm not smart to be a person, just pretty smart for a Black girl. And you have to, this is where I was talking about, who in your life. I talked about my grandmother who poured into me these nuggets that bolstered my confidence, that bolstered my spirit, so that when I heard these things, they rolled off in my back. I didn't take them on as truths about me, because I had to get really clear about who I was early on if I knew I was going to make it out. I couldn't wait for opportunities to define who I was. I needed to really take that step and find people. And I found people, a tribe of people who believed in me, like I said, who were not necessarily my teachers. They were people who were in the community, people who saw something in me that I didn't see at the time. And they, again, poured into my spirit that, you can do these things, whatever it is you want to do. And I think if I had to say one thing that, helps students go after that, is you have to start speaking what it is you want to achieve into existence. You have to start telling people, I want to do this thing, because there are people who probably can help you, but if they don't know what it is you want to do, they can't help you. So when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to become a medical doctor. So I told people I want to become a doctor. And whether they knew me personally or not, that was part of my spiel. Hi, I'm Erika, and I want to become a doctor. And people look at you differently, and they want to try to help you. As a young minority student, and you say, I want to do something, there are people, Dr. Stewart talked about programs, and there are other people who, just hearing the fact that you have an idea, they want to help you implement it. So that would be the thing I would tell you. Speak it into existence. Make that part of who you are, part of your introduction. Hi, this is my name, and this is what I want to become. And you'll be amazed at the number of people who will actually bend over backwards to try to make that happen for you.
That is so awesome. I want to hear a little bit from Pilar about, what was one of the key things that you would give as advice to young Latina students. And then I want to hear from Didi as far as what are some of the key things that she's learned to tell students so that they can move up in their advanced manufacturing, et cetera. Pilar?
Yeah, so I want to start by, I'll be completely honest, I'm actually a really shy person in real life. I always have been. But I think that it's okay to be shy. A lot of advice usually is yeah, go and be outgoing, and it's okay if you're a shy person. I'm I'm really shy, but so sometimes I think it's hard to get a mentor when you're shy. It's hard to go up to your teacher and be like, hey, can you be my mentor? Because it takes courage. And but just keep in mind that there's people there, as everyone has said, that really do have your best interest in mind, and they care for you. And it could be your friend, it could be your teacher, it could be your neighbor, it could be anyone. And so just remember that they care for you. Someone is out there that cares for you, and you don't have to worry about, oh man, what if something goes wrong. So it's okay, and it's okay to be shy. I think with experience and as you go through college, it kind of started out as a fake it till you make it at being able to talk to people a bit better. But just keep on going. Just don't give up. And I think that's the most important thing in the end. Don't give up. Don't get too discouraged. It'll be okay.
That's excellent. I love the contrast, right? Because everybody isn't outgoing. Everybody can't just pick up the microphone and just be like, ha, So Didi, can you talk a little bit about, the dealing with the stresses that come as a high school student or a graduate starting on a new job, and, how to ask the right questions to move forward, how to deal with those types of things?
So in the world of manufacturing, there are what I call super adults. These are people that are 45 years old, been on their job for 20 plus years, know it all, been there, you know, and you have to deal with these people. So coming in as a 18-year-old fresh out of high school from all Black or all Latino community, coming into an environment where people are twice your age, learning how to deal with that, learning how to deal with different cultures. Every culture doesn't understand our culture, and they may see something on TV and repeat it and think that's cool when it could be offensive. How does a young person deal with that and keep their job? You know, on the block, you know, the next star rolling, we're ready to go toe to toe. But you got to be professional in the work environment, and you can't go toe to toe, but I teach them to have an opportunity to teach others how you want to be treated. You don't have to go toe to toe. You can have a conversation. My name is Dee Dee Jones, and that's what I want to be addressed by. And you shouldn't use that phrase because it's offensive to my culture. Because everybody don't know that. So give people a chance. You know, don't come at them so hard right off the bat, because they may just be ignorant of some things coming from another culture. I teach them that. I teach them about attendance. Manufacturing is all about showing up and showing out. You are young and you have a voice. You are smart, very intelligent. You see, you're doing new things. They are looking to you for answers. Your managers, the engineers, you are physically doing these positions. Why not say, hey, if we do it this way, I think we'll save a few minutes. Or, you know, not calling off because you stayed up gaming all night. You have to push through and show up. Think about your coworkers and what their life is going to be like when you're not there. How they have to pick up the slack and they're going to have a harder day. And then when you come back to work, why they're looking at you crazy. You know, why they're trying to get you fired, because they don't want you, you know, coming into their home and not appreciating the opportunities that you have. And you do that by showing up and showing out when you're there, not going to the bathroom 16 times, checking your cell phone. There's a time for that. And there's a time to be present and to be motivated to work and do a good job, make your money and go home. And the last thing is, be careful of gossip. You know, people are in your ear talking about, I never got a raise in 20 years. Question why? You know, why are these folks who've been working here 20 years telling me all this stuff, and they've been working here all this time? I don't know why. But in manufacturing, it happens all the time. I don't know. But be careful of the company you keep your eyes open, show up and show out, because you have an opportunity to excel very quickly and make a lot of money. Very, very quickly without having to go through a lot of channels. All you gotta do is show up, be present, do your job that they asked you to do, offer advice when it's necessary. Don't be confrontational, but be a team member, be a teammate, be respectful to your team, and you know, try to excel when necessary. When there's available opportunities, volunteer. Don't play the background, because that's where you're gonna stay. And you're questioning, well, how come I'm not moving? Because you got to be vocal. And you don't have to be loud, like Pilar said. You just have to be vocal. This is what I'm looking forward to in the future. I teach my kids, let them know what the end goal is. If you want to be a welder, but you haven't went to school for welding, you know, let them know. This is what I want to do as my career. And I promise you, somebody's going to take you by the hand and get you there, because you have an interest. And the world is wide open in the field of manufacturing right now. So take advantage.
That will be the closing thought for the day. I want to thank Dr. Stewart, Dr. Alston, Dr. Gonzalez, or potential Dr. Gonzalez. I want to thank Dr. Ashan for his time. He had to go to his other meeting. Thank you all for joining us. We will make this video available along with, I will make sure that there is a PDF that's sent out to everybody who is registered. This was absolutely wonderful. I feel like we covered so much information, but I hope you all are inspired to go into, I know I'm inspired, I'm thinking about career change, just saying. So thank you again. We look forward to hosting another NASA related event sometime in the future. So keep your ears perked. And for those who are graduating, congratulations, and hope you consider UTEP and other universities that can help you to help our science endeavors. So this was great. Thank you again. And we'll see you in the next STEAM opportunity. For Manufacturing Connect, goodbye.